Ready to spark your inner creativity? Then take a journey with me back to the Renaissance as we dive into the one-of-a-kind mind of Leonardo da Vinci. Being creative is the one pursuit that cannot be taken away from you. Whether you are in a small jail cell or on the peaks of the Himalayas, we all have something to show our inner individuality. It seems, though, in today's world, creativity has become an utter commodity, and at every turn we see a highly saturated market, where one has to move the heavens, no matter how good their art is, even to be seen or heard. This can be the most defeating thing, but I look at it in another way. In a world where everyone has a voice, and the ability to amplify that voice to many unexpected people, we can see this as a dual-edged sword. In one light, it is amazing that everyone has a voice, so we can see a range of creative ventures, because everyone can bring something unique. The other side, though, is that we all know that not everyone should be able to have that voice heard without the sweat and tears it takes to appreciate it. To many people, the arts are just a passing fad or pursuit to find some means of financial gain without having to work for a living. Or that is the proposed notion anyways. The many who try and pursue fame and fortune as a whim find out the hard way very quickly that doing what you love for a living is even more work than doing what you hate. The only difference being you would do this for free, and many think that until they kill themselves for 2 views or listens, then the real test of fortitude comes for your art. Da Vinci inspires us even all these years later that we must kill ourselves for our art, to the lengths of obsession, teetering on insanity, but just holding out long enough for that slim hope that your art will one day make a difference in the lives of thousands. Leonardo da Vinci lived from 1452 to 1519 and was a quintessential Renaissance polymath, renowned for his mastery in both art and science. He was born in Italy and is often regarded as one of the greatest minds in all of human history. As an artist, his most famous works include the Mona Lisa, celebrated for its enigmatic expression and innovative use of perspective, and The Last Supper, which revolutionized the depiction of emotional depth in religious art. Beyond his artistry, Leonardo was an accomplished scientist, engineer, and anatomist, whose extensive notebooks contain sketches of inventions like flying machines and detailed studies of human anatomy. His Vitruvian Man, a drawing of a man's proportions based on geometry, is another iconic work symbolizing his blend of art and science. Leonardo's contributions continue to inspire and influence fields from art to engineering, leaving an indelible mark on both history and modern thought. Today, we will be looking at 3 quotes from the man, the myth, the legend, in order to take our creativity to the next level, giving rise to a proposed theory of mine about the nature of creating art in the modern world. In a world where creative ideas, whether it take the form of music, art, astrology, are put on the back burner for more financially meaningful pursuits, finding inspiration is key to keeping our inventive ideas coming to the light. In a time where artificial intelligence seems to be turning our own intelligence into artificial constructs, we can derive hope from a man who is still touted centuries later. It seems that the market today is so saturated with everything and anything that most people cannot get the eyes or ears on their art unless they do something ridiculous or stick with it for years. So we must play the long game, have patience, and pursue our goals meaningfully. We can draw inspiration from Da Vinci to keep going, because we can get discouraged and want to quit because we are not getting the results we want. Whether you get 2 views, and one of those is you, just remember that everyone started somewhere, and I believe it is all a test to see if you will truly bleed for your art. Let's come back to that notion after getting some perspective from Leonardo. The first quote is, "Art is the queen of all sciences, communicating knowledge to all the generations of the world." This quote captures Da Vinci's belief in the power of art to transcend time, culture, and language. For him, art wasn't just about beauty or aesthetics. It was a vehicle for communicating deeper truths about nature, the human experience, and the universe. Da Vinci was an artist, but he was also an inventor and scientist. To him, art was a universal language that could convey complex ideas in a way that words or scientific equations could not. By calling art the queen of sciences, he emphasized that art had a unique and elevated role. Unlike other forms of knowledge, it could represent abstract concepts and make them accessible to all, regardless of background or education. Art also had the power to transmit knowledge across generations, bridging the gap between past, present, and future. Number 2. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. This quote gets at the heart of Da Vinci's design and artistic philosophy. He valued simplicity because it reflects a deep understanding of a subject. Achieving simplicity isn't about stripping away complexity, but about distilling things down to their essence, understanding what is truly important and leaving out what's unnecessary. Da Vinci believed that true genius lies in the ability to make complex ideas, designs, or problems seem effortless. In his works, whether it was a painting or an invention, Da Vinci often favored clean, natural lines and straightforward solutions. He saw simplicity not as a lack of effort, but as a mark of refined skill, where every element has a purpose. For example, in his Vitruvian Man, he showed how human proportions could be understood through geometry and simple lines, an elegant fusion of art and science. Number 3. Learning never exhausts the mind, it only ignites it. For Leonardo, learning was a continuous and never-ending journey. He was an insatiable, curious mind, constantly observing the world around him and seeking to understand its underlying principles. This quote reflects his belief that the more one learns, the more one becomes engaged and energized by the pursuit of knowledge, rather than drained or worn out. The idea that learning ignites the mind suggests that true understanding is not a passive activity. It stimulates new ideas, insights, and connections, sparking fierce creativity and innovation. Da Vinci himself was an example of this. His notebooks are filled with observations about anatomy, physics, art, and nature. Rather than feeling overwhelmed by the vastness of knowledge, he was excited by the endless possibilities it offered. This perspective is motivating because it challenges the idea that learning is a burden. Instead, it positions knowledge as something that fuels and drives personal growth, inspiring you to keep asking questions and exploring deeper truths. Each of these quotes reveals something about Leonardo da Vinci's mindset, a balance of artistic beauty, scientific rigor, and an unquenchable thirst for knowledge. From him, we can learn the power of curiosity, interdisciplinary thinking, and relentless exploration. Da Vinci's life teaches us that true innovation comes from looking at the world through many lenses, blending art with science, and never accepting things as they appear. His unwavering commitment to understanding nature, human anatomy, and the mechanics of the universe shows the importance of observation and detail in both creative and scientific pursuits. Leonardo's notebooks remind us that failure is often part of the journey. His countless sketches and ideas, many of which were never realized, still reflect a mindset focused on learning rather than perfection. We can also learn the value of patience, as Da Vinci spent years perfecting his works, with a deep belief that mastery comes from continuous refinement. In essence, his legacy urges us to follow our passions, embrace curiosity, and see connections between seemingly separate areas of knowledge, ultimately helping us unlock new realms of creativity and discovery. One of the biggest takeaways from Leonardo is that we must never give up in our artistic pursuits. It should be our life's goal. He was tormented, constantly put down by minds not capable of understanding his brilliance. This is the greatness of this man, to never let those voices penetrate your mind, making you believe that you are less than, or your art is not special. Because if your art is special to you, then it serves the ultimate purpose, keeping you alive with hope and positivity. After looking at the mind and words of this legendary creative soul, I want to tell you what I have learned, having been at the arts for years, but just at the infancy of this creative journey, that might just keep one person from quitting theirs. And if I can do that, then that is a win for Da Vinci himself. Let us take social media, for example. The lengths you have to go through to get views as an artist nowadays is unbelievable. This is a test. The algorithm, the views, it is all a way to test your might. Can you stick with it long enough? Are you truly serious about your art, or is this just a passing fad? So as much as I hate the algorithm like the next guy, and thinks it purposefully keeps my art in the shadows, it is all a test. It was my first inclination to look at the oversaturation as a hell that we cannot navigate through, and the lengths you have to go through to get out there is absurd, because we are not circus performers, are we? I came to a conclusion trying to see the positive side of things, to keep going and never quit. When a musician or an artist starts his or her journey nowadays, we have to create the art. And that is the easy part, it seems, because then we have to get the art to the masses, and there lies the labyrinth. Absolutely killing yourself for your craft, taking days and days being a one-man army, only to post your art excitedly, only to get 5 views, if you are lucky. You want to pull a Kurt Cobain and smash your guitar, throw the computer against the wall, and quit straight out, especially after months of this. As a musician and a thought-provoker, if anyone gets it, I do. So this battle of the creative soul hits home to me on the daily, because we all are the ultimate entrepreneurs. We do not want to work for horrible bosses for the rest of our lives. When we have the talent and the fire to make something happen that millions could not and would not do. This is all easier said than done, because at some point life hits you, whether financially minded or the pressure from society to grow up and leave behind meaningless pursuits. This is the greatest killer. Never let something like revolutions around the sun, age, or small-minded, fearful people deter you from being your greatest self. Da Vinci shows me why I do not care if you are 80 years old and falling off the chair with your guitar in one hand and a paintbrush in the other. That is your right and your greatness to behold. Never be stifled by those who do not have the courage to pursue what you believe in yourself. So in order to keep going, I looked at this algorithmic hell as a straight-up test. This whole journey is a test. It is my new hope, or my goblet of fire, the ultimate escaping from Shawshank. Never quit, no matter if you are getting 0 views. Just never quit, period. You must show that out of all the thousands of people trying to show their talents, falling into the fad, on and off, that you are different, that no matter how much rejection you face, you will keep going. Do you know why? Because you must create for yourself first, not other people. I try to live by the oxygen mask theory, as I call it. Create for myself first, then try to spark something in others, because if I get enjoyment from music or art, and it makes every single day worth living, turning the mornings from a dull gray into technicolor again, making my blood flow, then isn't it doing its job? What else is the point of art if not to make the artist happy? The problem is that most artists today think that they need to make money from their art in order for they themselves to take their craft seriously. Of course, we won't sneer at financial gain doing what we love, but we must pursue our own greatness for ourselves first, then worry about others. If you create for yourself first, then you will never be disappointed with the results of the posting. If it is brightening your drab day, and in the chance it can brighten someone else's, then you have achieved a creator's nirvana. It took me a lot of contemplation to come to this conclusion, and maybe it is just cope, but regardless, it saves. You must pass the test like Leonardo did. Every layman wants to tell you that you will never make it, and that you should quit to do something meaningful. Use them as fuel, because they are upset they do not have the fortitude to work 2 jobs, just to pay for studio time and manage multiple channels in the hopes of spreading something unique. Let those voices die with your need to gain financials quickly, because then you will have passed the test. I came to the conclusion that the system is the test itself. It literally weeds out all the pretenders, and only the ones who truly are worth their salt, willing to grind for their art, for years and years unnoticed, if need be, will shine. Do not be one of the weeds that gets plucked from the sidewalk too early, who does not have the chance to flower, thus denying the world of something potentially great. Most will quit 10 times over, and I was there myself, until I looked at Da Vinci and realized that if I create for myself first, then I will never stop. Whatever happens, it keeps me alive and thriving. I hope this video has stopped at least one person from quitting their passion, because it might be one less person in the competition, but with my theory, it is one person who could pass the test and bring something to the world that could never be repeated by the masses. All you have to do is turn away from the result of your creativity, your art, and turn to the journey, the pursuit, the fun of it, and watch your life be like a Star Wars saga, like a fallen Jedi returning to the light. Keep creating. And remember, the ability to speak does not make you intelligent. It just makes you human. Be more. Be special. Be yourself.